Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in and just kind of give you the notes that I took as I was leading or reading. So, number one, the law of the lid. That was kind of really challenging for me because I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? The law of the lid. But as he continued, he says, the higher you want to climb, the more you need leadership. If the organization's lid is strong, then so is the lid. Wherever you look, you can find smart leaders, but they will only go far depending on their lid. So to reach the highest level of effectiveness, you need to raise that lid. So throughout your journey, as you're striving to be a leader, your lid is going to continue to raise. Number two, the law of influence. And this one, I'll tell you, this one probably is number one. It says the true measure of leadership is influence. How do you measure the effectiveness of leaders? Well, it's based on the skills that they're seeing in opportunities, but not all good with people. So the knowledge myth, so there's a few myths he talked about with this one. Knowledge doesn't mean leadership. You can visit any major university, but that doesn't mean that they know how to lead. So those people that are running these research-based stuff or people who are very knowledgeable, that does not necessarily mean that they could jump right out and be a good leader. Just because they have a lot of information, they don't know how to be a good leader. So you have to obtain those leadership skills along the way. Excuse me. The pioneer myth. That's anyone out in front of the crowd. That does not mean that they know why they are out there and what they're doing. So you'll hear, oh, well, they're a trendsetter and people are following them. Well, just because they are setting this trend, that doesn't necessarily mean that they know how to lead, and eventually they're going to fall. Real leaders are those people that listen to and follow. So this one really kind of got to me. It says, why do some people struggle with influence? They're working on their character. They're working on who they are. They're working on relationships. And you have to have knowledge to be a good leader, but that doesn't necessarily define your leadership skills. You have to have intuition. You have to continue with your experience. People are drawn to your successes and your past successes. So they may not jump initially. If you are just getting started into something new, they may not jump. Sorry, Hope, I'm seeing that your hand is raised. Go ahead, Hope.
No, you're fine. Keep going, and then I'll go back through because it was for the first thing, and so I can go back through.
Sorry, I guess I just wasn't paying attention like I thought I would. Okay, so I'll finish the law of influence, and then you can take over. Having experience, then the past successes, and then having ability to be able to help guide people. I really love this quote. He said, he who thinks he is a leader but has no followers is only taking a walk. So, I mean, a lot of us are walking on our journey, and that's okay. There are times that I look at myself and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just doing this by myself. So I need to work on that influence. All right, go ahead, Hope. I'll mute myself.
Well, on the law of the lid, there's a part where he mentions that, like, if your capacity is a 9, that you can develop, but you won't go past that 9. And the thing that stood out to me is that you don't have to do it by yourself. Like, real leaders surround themselves with people that complement them. So for me, I've never really seen myself as a leader. But as I read the book, I was like, oh, I have more qualities than I thought I did. But I like that idea of finding people that have strengths that you don't and letting them help you. Like, you partner together, and you're able to get to the 10, the top level, because you surround yourselves with people that have strengths that you don't. And like, I kind of tied that into the, is it okay if I skip ahead? Yeah, okay. To the law of empowerment, where he talks about how Henry Ford would like undermine his employees, and he was so afraid of somebody being more powerful than him that he undermined them. A lot of the good leaders left. And then he talks about how Lincoln surrounded himself with the people on his staff were the people that were in the opposition and who had strong personalities. And he talks about how a leader is not afraid of losing influence. They have more, I guess, self-assurance in that. He surrounded himself with people that were strong so that he could have the support of them. And then it mentions that when something went wrong, Lincoln took the blame. He didn't throw the people under the bus and say, hey, it's their fault. He took the blame, which then got him the respect, people that saw things very differently than how he saw them. And I like the idea that a leader is a leader in the sense that they protect the people that are with them, that they help them excel, and they create an environment where the person's not afraid to make a mistake. And so I really like that. And I kind of tied that into the law of the lid because he surrounded himself with people that were good at things that he wasn't necessarily great at. So that's all I was going to say.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks for chiming in. And Sam, if you've got anything, please don't hold back. And really, rather than raising your hand, I think just unmute yourself and just start talking, because what I have been doing is I've got my notes as my main screen, so I'm not even really looking at the screen. So, okay, so number 3 is the law of process, and just keeping it simple. Leadership develops daily, not in a day, and you need to work on it every day. So part of your IPA is working on who you are and working on yourself. Number 4, the law of navigation. Anyone can steer the ship. It takes a leader to chart the course. They understand what it will take to get there. Your failures teach you greater lessons. You can learn and analyze them. Leaders need to take time to reflect. No good leader plans a course of action before navigating where they are at now. They listen to what others have to say. In conclusion, represents faith and fact. So just kind of my 2 cents with this one. What?
Oh, go ahead, finish, and then I'll say something.
Okay, so my 2 cents is I've been working with a few people. I've got accountability partners. We're setting goals, and we are reflecting on those after a few weeks. So that kind of helps keep me on track where I am and where I hope to be in 2 weeks. I could even simplify and do every week, but for me, I have to, have a little bit of time in between to not only work, but to reflect on where I am. And I think you grow when you're able to reflect on where you've been. Okay, go ahead, Hope.
Something that I found interesting was I didn't really, the thought had never come to my mind, but managing is not the same as leadership. And how he talked about in an organization, the manager might not be the leader. And so I'm good at delegating, doing things like that. Managing is something that I can handle. The leadership is a big stretch for me. And I hadn't thought that, because I'd always thought, okay, my manager is the leader of the department. And I hadn't ever thought that might be not the case.
Right. And you'll hear it time and again, but management mode is not going to grow your team. So we go into management mode, I'm just trying to maintain where I'm at. But if you're not continuously growing, then neither is your team. So when you stop, that's where your team's going to stop. Okay, so number 5 is the law of addition. Leaders add value by serving others. All relationships either add or take away. Are you making things better for the people that follow you? often people who are subtractors don't realize that they are doing this. Those who add value do so intentionally. People will get more done when you're serving and helping them. So my 2 cents with that one is surround yourself, and it goes with the law of the inner circle later on down the line, but surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, people who help you to want to be the very best person that you can be. Sometimes we can even be subtractors, and we don't intend to be that. And I'm going to just tell you, this morning I was super ornery, and I was probably a subtractor to some people. It's just a roller coaster. We just have to recognize, and we have to try to be a little bit better. But the law of addition, we want to find people who are going to add to us, and we want to add to them. That's our goal as we're striving to be the best leaders that we can be. Number 6, the law of solid ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership. It is the glue that holds an organization together. If your people don't know what to expect from you as a leader, they won't look to you as a leader. If you don't have character, you can't earn respect. So my 2 cents with that is I am trying to set up Power of Pink so people know what to expect. Monday motivation, Tuesday tips, Wednesday words or Wednesday wellness, Thursday thoughts. You can always guarantee there's going to be a video from me. And Friday are going to be my Friday favorites. And then I like to share other business tips or things along the way. But I want you to be thinking about what you're doing, that your team, they always know what to expect from you. Are you accountable? Are you always going to follow through with what you say you're going to do? I think as human beings, we are naturally flaky. We don't intend to be flaky, but the reality is sometimes things come up. So that's where your inner circle comes in. Who can help you in those times of need when you get sick? I mean, that's something you don't have control over. But you as a leader still need to follow through with what you do. And if it's not you personally, who's going to be able to help and support you in those times of need? I'm going to give an example. And I don't know if this is what Hope was going to say, but yeah, maybe it is. Go ahead, Hope.
No, go ahead. You finish.
Oh, well, Hope had a terrible migraine the other day, and she had a Facebook party. And rather than bailing on those people who were expecting that, Kylie stepped up and helped with the posting of that Facebook party. And so that is accountability. That is helping to support. And Hope knows that Kylie has always got her back.
Yes, I do. I was just going to say that with the whole trust, not only just being there, but part of the whole Lincoln story where the people know that they can count on you for more than just what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, but that they also know that they can come to you at any time and share with you things that are not going to like get spread around, or they can share their frustrations and trust that you're going to understand. You're not going to try to belittle them or make them feel like a bad person because they're struggling. I think that the trust has, like, all of these concepts apply to life a whole lot. But as far as the business goes, I found that I work harder when I know that I can rely on others, that I'm not alone, that I can trust that I'm not alone in my frustrations. I'm not alone thinking that this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And that for me is also an element of trust. You go with your mouth full.
I know, I'm like, I need a little snack here. Hennessy, show me your cute fingernails. Cutie. Oh, they're beautiful. They look so good. Okay. All right. So number 7, the law of respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. People don't follow others by accident. They naturally follow someone who is more gifted than themselves. Natural leadership ability, respect for others, courage, success, and loyalty all are lumped together. Number 8, the law of intuition. Leaders evaluate everything with a leadership bias. Leaders of trends, tasks at hand, specific goals. Leaders must always be a few steps of their best people if they can read trends of their best people. What must I do to reach the next level to overcome this? What info, technology, financial, team encouragement? Leaders are readers of people. When leaders face a problem, they evaluate how they can fix it. And I wish I would have written it down, but the story of Steve Jobs and Apple and how all of that really came into was just crazy. But that's something for a whole nother Zoom call. Number 9, the law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. We carry a list of people that we would love to have in our organization. So that's our dream team list. That's our chicken list. Those are people that we want in our organization. Why do we want those people in our organization? What characteristics do they hold? This is not determined by what you want, but who you are. So if you are a happy person, you're going to attract happy people. If you are overwhelmed and stressed and unorganized, then those are really the people that we're attracting. You've heard the phrase, birds of a feather flock together. So attitude is one of the most contagious qualities. Unhappy with the types of people you're attracting, that's when working on a stronger character personally is going to develop who you're attracting down the line. Number 10, the law of connection. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So communicate with openness and sincerity. Being authentic is going to be what is connecting you to people. You need to know your audience. Listen before you speak. Pay attention to their needs rather than pushing what you know or what you want them to know. Practice what you preach. Focus on them, not yourselves. The secret is always going to be good communication. So touch a person's heart before you ask him for a hand is one thing that I really loved from that law. Number 11, the law of inner circle. Oh, yes, go ahead, Miss Hope.
I found that the whole listening before, okay, so when I jumped into Plexus, it was because I believed in the products and I automatically expected everybody to be at the same level as me and just ready to go. And while listening to this book, I've been practicing a lot of listening to see not about Plexus, but about people's lives. And I have found that with a few people on the team that I hadn't had that connection with, I find that I have it now, where like the kind of connection I've had with you and Kylie with the business, I'm starting to have with people on my team. And you know, it is a process. It's not something that can be done overnight. But I remember for a while I felt really lonely, like, okay, I'm waiting for somebody to run with me. And I realized that the reason on my team that I didn't have somebody to run with me was because I wasn't working to establish the relationship first. I was looking to just go instead of showing that I do care. I just assumed that they would know I cared. And so I found that I have been able to find people that I didn't know would be runners with me. And I think that if I hadn't taken time to just step back and forget the business and just listen to what's going on, I wouldn't have that right now. That's it.
That's okay. I realized I was on mute and I'm like, oh. No, thank you for sharing that though, Hope. Okay, so number 11, the law of inner circle. Nobody does anything great alone. No single person can do all 21 of these things well. You must be intentional in your relationship building. Do they have high influence with others? Do they bring a complementary gift to the table? Do they add value to me and to the organization? Do they positively affect other members? To raise and encourage others, no leader starts with a strong inner circle. So this one really hit me, like the culture of our team pages, Power of Pink, Team Awesome. I'm trying to think, Nick and Marcy's pages, Empowering Health League, and A Tribe Called Plexus. Like, think of all of those pages. The team culture, all of them have a different team culture, but if we were all to get into a same room, I would hope that we would want to spend time with one another. We would want to learn from one another. We would want to have that connection. So that inner circle, I feel like you guys are all my inner circle, and I want that. And I don't think a true leader can go places without that. I need each and every one of you. Each of you have something different to bring to the table. I'm so much this blue personality that's like, yeah, let's have fun. And then there's Kylie and Hope that are like this green personality, and this is how we can do it. And then there's Sam that's like the sweetest, like most caring person that I know. And I think this is my mom that's the iPhone. And she just has this journey that she wears her heart on her sleeve. We all have something different to bring to the table. And Hope, you said you were going to get emotional, but here I am being the big baby always. But we could not do this without one another. There's no possible way that we could do this without one another. So thank you for being my inner circle. Thank you for being the people that I can count on, that I know without a doubt you are going to be my adders, my adders rather than subtractors. So thank you.
Hey, Megan.
Yes, go ahead.
I when I was reading it, what stuck out to me was that I don't know if it was in that specific law, but he mentions it in one of them, where leaders have to make unpopular decisions. They have to do things that sometimes will make them not well liked, and they have to be okay with that. And the inner circle, he talked about how you have to be choosy about who you let into the inner circle. And like, it kind of surprised me, because I always thought, okay, just surround yourself with a lot of people that can help magnify your own talents and you can magnify theirs. But he talked about how not everybody can make it into that inner circle, because they have to be like, you have to have this vision of what you want, and the people that are involved in the inner circle have to contribute to that vision. You can't just say, hey, everybody, although you'd like to. I guess that just really surprised me, that one of the decisions you have to make is being very picky about who you let into the inner circle. And I had been, for my team, I have been working on the people that want to work the business, kind of composing my inner circle. And that made me reevaluate like how I would run the team. Like, I have a lot of great people that are working the business, but it made me just think that maybe I wasn't going about it the right way, because I didn't really have an inner circle. I kind of had just everybody. So.
But that's what this journey is it's constantly evaluating where we are and how we can better ourselves. I think that's been where I've been struggling this morning. Is I feel like there's certain things that I'm just pushing these boulders uphill, and it's overwhelming. And for me, I take on a lot, and I don't know how to recognize or even ask for help, maybe in a way that is going to speak to somebody else. So I take on a lot, and then because I don't have that support, then I tend to do it all myself, and then I get overloaded. So a lot of this journey is just going to constantly be reflecting and asking others, what would you do differently, or how could I make this better? So anyways, that's my thought. The law of inner circle, that's something that I just got a text from my mom, and she said that she's loved that part, and she's working on a lot of the developing there too. So I just love that we're sending texts back and forth, and she doesn't have great service, so she can't show her face, and she's in and out. But anyways, all right, number 12, the law of empowerment. What happens when a leader keeps others down instead of lifting them up? When you go down with them, you lose any power to lift them up. The only way to make yourself indispensable is to make yourself dispensable. Resistance to change is a barrier. Change is the price of progress. Most people don't like change. You must train yourself to embrace change. Recognizing that lack of self-worth is another barrier. Don't worry about what others think. It's hard to give what you don't have. And if you believe in others, they will believe in themselves. This one really got to me, and Hope said this earlier, that need to be liked, that need to, I was talking to Kylie about this the other day, is it bothers me when I know that people don't like me, but I need to not worry about those people. They're not in my inner circle. They're not the people that are helping to uplift me. But I would like to have a relationship with people, and I would like to somehow empower them, but they have to be ready for that too. I'm going to go a little bit faster. It says we've only got about 10 minutes, so I apologize.
Megan, I'll just do one thing.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the story he said about the law of empowerment, how he gave the analogy of if somebody has their hands on somebody's shoulders and they're pushing them down, that causes them to hunch over and their height comes down. Mm-hmm. And they cannot go higher than that when they're pushing them down. Like, I just liked the visual that created, and how when you're lifting someone up, that the level you can reach is higher because you're not hunched over trying to push them down.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. Okay, so number 13, the law of the picture. Lead by example. Go first. Good leaders are aware that what they do, others will mimic and follow. They need a clear picture. They need a good leader who demonstrates this. Do not neglect this law. Followers are always watching what you do. It's easy to teach what is right than to do what is right. So you're leading by example, your good ethics, your good character. Nothing is more convincing than those who give good advice and lead with that. Number 14, the law of buy-in. They buy into the leader, then the vision. So people join you because of you, not because of your vision, but then you want to help give them that vision. Have I given people reason to buy into me? If not, it doesn't matter how great my vision is. Number 15, the law of victory. Leaders share an unwillingness to accept defeat. So that's where your grit comes in. That's where not giving up comes in. They figure out what must be done to see the victory. And our inner circle, we need to have that unity of a vision. We have a diversity of skills. A leader dedicated to victory in raising a team with diversity. Number 16, the law of the big mo. So that big mo is momentum. Honey, mommy is talking. Sorry. Average people can perform higher than average if they have momentum. Followers can catch it. Good management can hit momentum. Good leaders shouldn't look for someone to motivate them. You've got to be able to motivate within. If you can't make some heat, get out of the kitchen. So you've heard that quote a little bit, well, different than that, but I really like how he said you've got to be able to make your own heat. And I have lost my place. Value momentum for what it is. Once you have it, you can do just about anything. Sam and I read a book last year. I don't remember the name of it. It was Eric Worre's something or another, network marketing something. But in it, my main takeaway was speed equals success. You run, your success is going to come, but you've got to keep that momentum up. That is this big momentum that we're talking about. Number 17, the law of priorities. So activities are not necessarily an accomplishment. So your priorities are your IPA. You must be getting that IPA done. Otherwise, you're not going to grow. Just a second, honey. Number 18, the law of sacrifice. A leader must give up to go up. There is no success without sacrifice. Leaders are asked to give up more than others. You have to give up rights. You have to give up responsibility. You have to give up to go up. So the more responsibility you accept, the more that you are going to have to give up. You must keep giving up to stay up. And sacrifice is an ongoing process. And the higher the level of leadership, the higher the sacrifice. So Dan and I were talking about this. He says, so as you continue to grow, are you going to have to put more time in? Well, the answer is definitely yes. If I want to go up, I need to devote more time. When I first started, I was maybe doing 5 hours a week. I know right now that I'm an average of 15 hours a week. And probably if I was willing to give up more, I would rank up faster. So that just comes down to your priorities. But as a leader, recognizing that you are going to have to give up some sacrifices. Number 19, the law of timing. Leaders' intuition tells them when the timing is best. The greatest mistake is when to cut. My notes clearly are not the best of notes because that doesn't make any sense. Taking the right action at the right time equals success. Number 20, the law of explosive growth. Your organization needs to be attractive to others. You must create a place where they can thrive. The only way to lead as a leader is to be a better leader yourself. If you keep adding value to the leaders you lead, they will never want to leave. Number 21, the law of legacy. A leader's lasting value is measured by succession. And this part really got to me. It said, what do you want people to say at your funeral? What do you want to be remembered for? Most have never thought about it, but you need to take it into the account of the law of legacy. Natural progression is achievement comes when they do big things by themselves. Success comes when they empower followers to do big things for them. Significance comes when they develop leaders to do great things with them. And a legacy comes when they are doing things with those leaders. Legacy comes when they are doing things without that leader. So invest in leaders who will carry them on. I don't want to read the conclusion. We've got about 3 minutes. I want to hear from you guys what your takeaway was. If you're not finished, what your takeaway from this call was. And I'm going to stop crying now.
Can I go? All right. I just reading this, it made me do a lot of self-reflection. There's a lot of work that I need to do, but I'm going to do it. It's given me a place to start. And the thing that hit me the most is like, there is no growth with my team right now. I've got a few people who would like to do it, but they're unsure about it. And I need to lead, but I don't know how to lead. So that's where I'm at right now. And that's where I want to go, is because I want this to work. And I want people to see that this company is as amazing as I know that it is. And like, I don't know, all your wildest dreams can come true if you will just listen to me. That is all.
Less than a minute. Anybody else?
Unless Kylie, do you want to say something?
The law of empowerment. That chapter was the one that really changed things for me, because I realized that I was not leading. I was supporting everyone. I was holding on to everyone. And the month of June and July, I really didn't have time to do that. I didn't have time to hold hands. I didn't have time to micromanage. So I just let it go. And what happened, what happened. And I have had about 10 people step up and actually start running their business, where I have others that I have actually been supporting. I've been putting ambassadors under. I've been working their teams for them. And one in particular is my number one, but she's my strongest leg. I'm not going to help her anymore. I'm not going to hold her hand anymore. She is getting ready to go on a trip of a lifetime through Plexus, and she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to go. She's mad about it. She's upset that I've encouraged her to go, and I'm letting go. What happens, what happens. If she can't find her own motivation, I'm not going to let her hold me back anymore. I'm going to focus on my other legs. I'm going to build my other teams up. They're my number 9. A girl flew in from Texas just to meet with me and sit down one-on-one, and we had a really awesome conversation, and she went silver this week. And all 3 of her people want to work the business. So there are other people and other things I need to be focusing on. So anyway, that was my takeaway, and I apologize that I was late jumping on. My kids are chaos today. So last day of no